Welcome in, Cowboys Nation, to another episode, the first episode of the 2023 season of Doc Talk with Dr. Boothby of OSMI, and it comes after a fantastic opening night victory for the Dallas Cowboys. How you feeling, Doc?
Feeling great. Absolutely. I don't think you could have summed it up any better. Wow, that was a great night, and a lot of good things to talk about on the sports side, and thankfully a lot of good things to talk about on the medical side too, which is a whole bunch of nothing
Yeah.
to a certain extent, which is super, and that's how we like it.
When you can come out of a victory like this, 40 to nothing, and no one gets hurt,
Yeah.
that is the icing on the cake. We don't have to talk about who got injured yesterday. They came out that game clean.
Absolutely. And, I think everybody knows who, if they're watching you, they're big Cowboys fans. I think everybody understands how unusual that is. There's
Yes.
usually, nicks and cuts and bruises here and there in the other place. But to see that sort of performance and come out clean is just a double win. It almost counts twice.
And they did it without two of their best players on the team. So we don't have to talk about injuries that happened during the game, but we do want to detail some of those that happened coming into the game at practice or at camp. And I want to talk about the big guy, Tyler Smith.
Sure.
Last Monday, one of the first practices of the week to prepare for week one, Tyler Smith felt a bit of a pull, a little hamstring strain, and came out
Yep.
after he received an MRI. And eventually he would be held out of practice for the rest of the week and then held out of this game. Now, I'm not aware of what grade this is, but can you elaborate to the people the different grades of a strain and the timelines that might ensue?
Sure, absolutely. No, hamstrings are always just a little bit tricky because as you so eloquently pointed out, like it really depends on the severity or grade of the strain. And so, the hamstring muscle is behind our thigh. Super important, obviously, when we're playing sports in terms of acceleration and power. And because those muscles, because a muscle in general only knows how to pull, basically, muscles don't push, they just pull. These muscles all are at kind of a resting tension, right? There's a certain amount of pull on the muscle when they're just not doing any work. And then when you add load to those, when you are trying to accelerate or trying to cut or jump, those muscles at that resting tension can exceed what they're normally used to seeing, and that's when you get this muscle strain. And usually, if you look at that whole unit, the muscle that attaches to the tendon, which attaches to the bone, the weakest area there tends to be where the muscle attaches to the tendon, that musculotendinous area. And that's 9 times out of 10 where people will get this injury. Hopefully, it is a mild strain, a grade 1 strain, where literally on the MRI we just see kind of fluid uptake, we just see inflammation, almost microscopic injury, but nothing more macroscopic or bigger. And those typically will be can be as short as a few days with the right treatment. Sometimes it can bleed into a week or so. As the grade or the strain gets worse, they go to grade 2, where there's more macroscopic tearing of the fibers. Well, that's when you can start to get more into sometimes even 4 to 6 weeks. And then grade 3 injuries are where literally the two ends are apart, and every once in a while those even have to be fixed with surgery, and can obviously have longer term effects.
We saw that, I think, last year with Tyron Smith. Tyron
Right.
Smith in practice essentially tore his hamstring off the bone. So we know that was one of the most severe hamstring injuries that I've seen in quite some time here in Dallas. But it looks like Tyler Smith's was considered minor, and
Yep.
he kind of gave it a bit of a go on Saturday's practice. So if it's minor, my guess is it is around that grade 1. And again, this is just us guessing here. And if that is the case, is there a chance you could see Tyler Smith kind of get going this week to kind of get ready for week two?
Yeah, potentially. The way we do it here is, we really want to make sure that they're getting good therapy. You want to make sure that that resting tension, the amount of tension on the hamstring when they're not doing anything, is as low as possible. So, a tremendous amount of stretching, long stretching, in order to lengthen that musculotendinous unit out. Appropriate therapy, ultrasound treatments, trying to get healing potential into the area of the strain. And really, then we just, advance them clinically. It's really how much it's bothering them and what they can do. And, they'll be cautious. It's early in the year.
Yeah.
They want him obviously for as long as possible. And as the year gets into the middle and end, and, if it takes an extra week or so up front, they'll make a cautious decision there. But yeah, it's really just going to depend on how he feels, and what he feels like he's able to do.
That's the offensive side of the ball, and they got things going and helped, aid to that 40-0 victory. But it was the defense that set the tone. It was the defense who was dominating in a fashion that we hadn't seen in about a half decade,
Yeah.
apparently, and they did it without one of their best players in Donovan Wilson. Donovan Wilson, got the big contract because he earned a big contract. He was one of their best players last year. First practice in Oxnard, he strains his calf. And when we hear calf strain in Dallas, we think
Hmm.
about what it did to Dak Prescott, where he missed a game and he came back, he wasn't quite the same. We think about
Sure.
what it did to Michael Gallup in 2021, where he missed about a good 7 or so weeks. And then you have now Donovan Wilson, who fortunately strained his calf early in July. And here we are in September, and he didn't suit up. But can you
Yeah.
kind of give us an inside look on what this calf strain could be like, and how severe you might think it is, given that he did this in July and here we are in September and he's still not available?
Yeah, it's a good point. Obviously, the time off right now and the time not even suiting up, speaks to the severity of the injury back then. And again, these soft tissue injuries, whether it's hamstring, whether it's calf, these soft tissue injuries are fickle. They're tough. They can be quick, but they can also really take some time. And I know obviously he's getting the very best treatment in terms of trying to facilitate his body healing itself. But at the end of the day, we can't control the biology, and it takes a certain amount of time to get back from this. Um, I can tell you they'll be assessing him from day to day and week to week, and based again on the timing. It's not like we're trying to make a playoff push right this second
Yeah.
and trying to rush him back. And so, based on the timing, the medical team will be cautious. They'll want to make sure that there's no setbacks once he does get back on the field. You can't have players three quarter speed out there, because
Mm-mm.
they end up being targets, and that's when bad stuff happens. And so, I think that he'll progress along, and when they feel comfortable that he can be a real value add and not be a danger to himself out there, they'll get him suited up.
Yeah, the good thing about it, like you said, is it's week one for either of
Yeah.
these guys. Tyler Smith hamstring, Donovan Wilson calf strain. You don't have to rush these guys back. I think the Cowboys are deep enough right now on both sides of the ball to be able to get by. And not only did they get by, they blew by the New York
That's
Giants.
it.
So
They proved it, right? Like, the proof is in the pudding, and
yeah,
they proved it for sure. So, let these guys heal up. And defense is such that underrated component where it just takes so much pressure off your offense when you don't feel like you have to go put up 30 or 40 points. And obviously bodes well for them as the season rolls out here.
complementary football, man. The defense is connected to the offense, just like the knee bones connected to the. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right. I got you. It all works together, and it all is a lot smoother if everything's pulling in the same direction. That's for sure.
Facts. Let them know where they can find you, Doc, if they need to get any medical advice, specifically sports medicine advice. If they have a child, a nephew, a
Yeah.
niece, or themselves, if they want to get some help.
Absolutely. We treat a bunch of families, from the little ones to the older ones. So we're at the Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Institute. We have an office here in Fort Worth, in Clear Fork. We have offices in Decatur as well as in Mansfield. So come on and find us. Our direct line is 817 529-1900. And you can reach us on the line at www.osmifw.com.
That'll do it for our very first episode of Doc Talk for the 2023 season. Look forward to hearing from you again, Doc.